Hello everyone, and thanks very much indeed for joining us here on WebEx to talk about the journey to cloud, with a particular focus on some of the practical things we need to do, and indeed a particular focus on those of us who already have existing infrastructure. This is the agenda. I will start by introducing myself to you. I'm really sorry, you're probably sick and tired of seeing cloud definitions. I will keep mine very, very brief, but I think it's important when talking to people about cloud that you very quickly think in terms of what they think they're talking about, because occasionally you can be talking about completely different things. I'm going to do the sort of good news, bad news thing on cloud, with a focus on sort of the reality of the infrastructure of most of my clients and what it's going to take for them to really take advantage of some of the real and genuine benefits that cloud computing can offer. I want to very quickly nail my views on some of the cloud religion around is private cloud orthodox cloud, and should it be called cloud at all? To be honest, I don't care. I'm interested in what I get from this mix of technologies, but I'll talk briefly about that. And then I want to focus on the journey, which naturally starts with figuring out where you are, and then I want to lead you through a number of key waypoints that I perceive as being important steps in this journey towards cloud. And I very, very much hope that you guys will submit questions. There's a little box, I believe, on the right-hand side of your screens, and I would be very, very happy to take questions. This presentation is going to be at a relatively high level because I can't predict the expertise in my audience. I'm hoping that there'll be a mixture of cloud gurus and people who are watching this to get a handle on what it's going to take. So forgive me if you're a guru and I'm stating the obvious, but please feel free to ask me some pointed questions. If I run out of time, I will try my very best to get back to you, and I shall probably be blogging this as well, so I might blog answers to questions. So, very quick introduction to me. I'm a partner, and I'm also the Chief Technology Officer at a small but beautifully formed analyst and research firm, the Bathwick Group. And as it happens, all of our infrastructure has now been moved onto the cloud. One of the things I did when I took responsibility for the technology at the Bathwick Group was to eliminate all of the nasty bits of server hardware we had knocking around the organisation. The cloud brings a whole load of benefits to us, and if anyone wants to know specifically about those, pop a question in, and I'll be delighted to talk about some of our experiences as a relatively small company. Prior to becoming an analyst, I was a software engineer, so I ran a banking network in France back in the late 80s, early 90s, where I had control of a massive 256 kilobits per second worth of bandwidth, which seems like not very much given that I now have 16 megabits of bandwidth coming into my home, but at the time it felt like loads of bandwidth. I've then spent several years working as a client-server architect, designing very large-scale client-server applications with sort of 15 to 20,000 clients. So I've had a sort of quite a painful grounding in what it means to do distributed computing, and trust me, those of you who've never bought a vinyl record, distributed computing was a lot harder to do in the early 90s than it is today. I spend a lot of my time now thinking about infrastructure and architecture and advising customers on what they need to do in order to improve their infrastructure, make it more reliable, more available, more scalable. Those are RAS attributes. They also need to make it cost less, and they also need to continue to keep the promises they're making to the business around business agility. So I come at this from a sort of dual lens. One is the geek who loves thinking about distributed computing, and the other one is someone who has to help IT justify some of the investments that they want to make in infrastructure improvement and renewal. So very quickly, and I'm not going to dwell on this, my definition of cloud is a pretty Catholic definition. I'm quite happy that software as a service belong in the cloud definition. I'm also happy that platform as a service should belong there too. I have a natural tendency to think more in terms of infrastructure as a service and platform as a service than I do software as a service. But there's a really important lesson that I keep being taught by my customers. The vast majority of my customers tend to define cloud very much as software as a service. So whilst I talk about the journey and talk about what we need to do to our infrastructure, actually a lot of my customers are thinking about cheating and simply taking the helicopter to cloud by engaging software as a service providers who support or provide their software delivery from a cloud-like platform. Phew. There you are. You don't have to listen to any more definitions. So good news and bad news, and you know, there's. I did have a slide that had a picture of a Kool-Aid packet that had been branded Cloud Kool-Aid. There's a lot of hype and